There is a lot going on here in the U.S. and around the world right now, leaving many parents to wonder the same thing. How much of the world should our children know about? It's a tough question to answer, and joining us now with some techniques to help parents discuss current world events with their children, we welcome Amanda Taylor. She's a lecturer in the Department of Psychology, College of Arts and Sciences, as well as education at the University of Michigan-Flint. And Amanda, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't we just start at the beginning? How much of this world should our children know right now?
Yeah. Well, so how much information children need really depends on the individual child. Chronological age matters, of course, but every child is different. And parents or people who take care of kids should trust themselves in knowing their children the best. In terms of guidelines, I think children under the age of 5 really don't need too many details. Elementary age children, so 5 to 10 or 5 to 11, these children can do best with 1 or 2 factually based sentences about what's happening. So for example, some people in the government think X, Y, and Z and are doing X, Y, and Z about that. Other people in the government disagree and are doing X, Y, and Z about that.
Mm-hmm. And how do parents really decide? You gave us some age ranges there, but how do parents, or how can they decide what really is age appropriate, even in the words that they choose to say to their children?
Yeah. It's such an important question, and I think really it does depend on the individual child. Mm-hmm. I think the ways that parents can show up the best for our children in this is really taking their lead. So making sure you understand what questions your children are asking and responding to those questions instead of preemptively providing information that might be too much or too confusing for your child.
Mm-hmm. So we should let children lead the discussion.
Absolutely. I think children should definitely be in the driver's seat.
And what about children who have genuine fears about what they're hearing, about what they're seeing? How do parents best help calm the fears of their children when they may also embody some fears themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing that parents can do is acknowledge and validate the fears of their children. When children are afraid, they notice that their parents are afraid, and invalidating that fear, or we might have like an instinctual reaction to say, there's nothing to be afraid of. But if children can see their parents be afraid or hear scary things on the news, invalidating that their own experience can actually be more dysregulating and more concerning for children. So I think if parents or guardians of children can meet the child where they're at, acknowledge and validate the fear, say it's okay to be afraid, I understand why you're afraid, that's a great starting point.
And by acknowledging that fear, is that a way of reassuring them that they're going to be okay, or is there other language associated with the reassurance part of that discussion?
Yeah, I think letting children in on your family's planning for how you've been able to keep your family safe and what your plans are to keep your family safe is appropriate. I think reassuring children that you have thought about these things too, and you have fears about these things too, and you're addressing it in certain ways. The ways in which people address these things will differ from family to family, but sharing those things with your children can be helpful.
And lastly, are there any standard just best practices that, from A to Z, or that parents should know when it comes to just having difficult conversations about any difficult event?
Yeah. So we all have sort of heard that old adage that what you do is more important than what you say. So I think that it holds true in our conversations with our children. How you show up for them almost matters more than what you say. So making sure you have the resources that you need in order to stay grounded, calm, confident in the conversation really can go a long way with children. Then I think being able to validate your children's anxieties and help them learn about the things that they're curious about together as a kind of a uniting activity rather than just telling them specific information.
How important is it for parents to let kids know it's okay to feel how they feel?
So important, so important. I think validating that emotion, sharing in that emotion with your children, and also reassuring them that you yourself have thought about the things that they're anxious about, and you're curious about the way they're thinking about it. For some kids, we can start by saying, what do you know about a certain event, and what would you like to know? And then you can use that as a jumping off point to maybe go to your local library and check out books about a particular country that's been on the news, or the history of political protests in the US, or whatever it is, and use it as an opportunity to learn together with your child.
Amanda Taylor, she's a lecturer from the Department of Psychology of Arts and Science and Education at the University of Michigan-Flint. And Amanda, we appreciate you coming in here on First at 4 today, offering some invaluable information for lots of parents who may be struggling right now.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.